Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to this episode of Comp Talk. I'm your host, Todd Thams, and I just want to thank you so much for stopping by. So I've been doing a lot of demos lately with this new analytical software that we have for workers' compensation called Mod Advisor. And I've had the opportunity to talk with agents from all over the country. And first thing, there are some really cool agents out there doing some really cool things. And the level of service that they are providing to their clients is second to none. I just love to see what you all are doing with workers' compensation and how you're focusing on that to help your businesses not only pay less for workers' compensation, but also be safer. And so as I'm going through all of these meetings with people and listening to what they want and what they're doing in their office, one of the things that we talked about was the delay that businesses have in reporting. And that might be helpful to build some reports or some analysis out of there. And I'm not kidding you, within a very short time of talking about lag time reporting, Jess Dantes from Zenjuries posts an article on his LinkedIn page that, lo and behold, talks about the lag time in reporting. So I click on it. It's information that came from 2004. And so I did a little research. This is actually super cool. So in the summer of 2000, Hartford Financial Services and this guy, Glenn Roberts Petruzzello, they actually did a study on their book of business on the late reporting of claims and how that impacts costs. That information was then kind of rolled up to NCCI. NCCI did that in their book of business also, and they did a research brief that was released January of 2015 by Thomas Shepard. So if you want to find this, all you really have to do is go Google NCCI lag time workers' compensation, and this report will be one of the top few reports that you're going to find right away. So here's the interesting thing. We talk about ways to prevent fraud, reduce lost time, make the claim medical only as opposed to medical indemnity, all of those things to drive down costs for customers or for businesses. But really, instant reporting is going to be one of the hugest ways or one of the largest ways to reduce the actual cost of a claim. And we all know the larger the claim, the more it's going to swing the mod for that business. So here's something that's interesting. They looked at what happens when a claim is reported week 1, 2, 3, or 4. And I will spare you the details in case you really want to get in there and dig around and look for it. But let's recognize that the largest grouping of claims is strains and injuries, overexertion, things like that. When your employee or your business waits to report that claim, costs go up. And what they found in this report here, as an example, is for sprains and strains, if that claim is reported in week 1, the average cost is $11,700. Goes on to week 2, it becomes $13,000, and by week 3, it becomes $19,000 and plateaus from there. So it's about a 40 to 50% increase in claim cost by waiting to report the claim to the insurance company. So if you've got an employee that has a claim and your company's sitting on it and you're waiting to submit that to the insurance carrier longer than a week, there's a good chance that claim cost is going to increase. And in some cases, I mean, just from a week 1 to week 2, you're up 20 points just in that 1 week alone. Other things like fractures, most people know when they have a fracture, so that does not hold true in that scenario. But where it does hold true, sprains and strains, contusions, and lacerations. Those 3 areas, the longer you wait to report, the cost of the claim. Then it gets even crazier. I'm looking at this report here. If you're waiting to report the claims, that lag time is greater than 2 weeks, the chances of an attorney being involved starts steadily increasing also. So what they're saying here, according to this NCCI report, roughly 16% of all claims that are reported within 1 week will get will have an attorney involvement. Goes up to 18% week 2 and 20% week 3 and 24% week 4. And I think the reason for this is because your injured worker or your claimant, they're probably pissed and frustrated. So if they've got a sprain and for some reason they report it to you, the business, and you don't report it directly to your insurance company, they're not getting the care that they need. They're not getting it timely enough. The insurance company is certainly not getting involved as soon as possible, which they need to be involved. And so that leads to poorer outcomes, and it leads to costlier claims, and it leads them to getting an attorney. One of the things that I always recommend, and you've heard me talk about it on this episode and everywhere that I go, nurse triage. Find a company that has nurse triage for free. And by the end of the day, if you think that you have an injured worker that has a claim, create a policy that complies with OSHA guidelines that says, we want immediate reporting of claims. OSHA has pushed out a whole study that they don't want retaliatory practices by the businesses for companies saying, hey, we want claims reported the same day, but that really they're saying, hey, businesses, we don't want you to report claims the same day, or forcing employees not to report claims. So you need to make sure that you have a written policy that you can roll out to your employees that complies with OSHA requirements that says, dear employees, if you think you were injured today at work, before you leave or as soon as practically possible, you need to report that claim to us so we can properly document the claim and provide medical assistance if needed. If you're doing that with nurse triage, a lot of times for these insurance companies who use nurse triage services, there's really no cost to you, the business owner. So you could have any employee for any reason whatsoever, if they think they had any claim that day, call that into nurse triage. 47% of all claims, they say, that get called into nurse triage result in self-care, but you've notified the insurance company that moment. The insurance company or the nurse triage firm will then also notify your insurance company. They will send your business a first report of injury so that you can be aware of it. And your business has complied with the legal reporting laws. And I mean, this just blows my mind here. If 47% of all claims can be handled by self-care, so then we need to focus on the other 53% that are actual legit claims. If we can take those claims and reduce the costs on them simply by just reporting timely, why wouldn't we want to do that? The data is all here. I know I've been in the insurance industry now for almost 20 years. This data is 10 to 15 years old. I guarantee you the costs have increased. The attorney's costs have increased. The medical costs have increased. The indemnity costs have increased. So I would assume from extrapolating this that the percentages would be slightly higher for delayed reporting. I think people are probably more readily wanting to go to an attorney. From some of the work comp groups that I'm in on social media, that's the number one piece of advice that is given 100 times over to any person who posts on that group chat saying, hey, I've got this injury. I haven't been contacted by the insurance company and I haven't heard anything from my employer. And there are 30 people ready to jump on that post saying, contact an attorney. You need an attorney. You need somebody to fight for you. So this is going to wrap it up for this episode, but let's just do the right thing. Nurse triage, get instant claim reporting down so we're not having these lag time claims. Educate your employees to report claims as soon as practically possible. If not by the end of the day, then as soon as they were first aware of where there might be an injury, and then get that information to the insurance company ASAP so that claim costs can be managed and your employee can have a better outcome. That's it for today's episode. Have a great day, everybody. Make it a great day. Thanks.